Hello and welcome back. Today we're talking about the basics of large language models. Now, this is where we left off last time, the phases of a foundational model. We're going to talk about two phases, specifically training or pre-training, which we'll call training for simplicity, and inference. Is not a phase on this chart because it's not part of the life cycle, but it's something that is very important. That's how people use the large foundational model, in this case, large language model. So we're going to be talking about these two phases. Let's dive into it. So in training, what happens is you have lots of text from the internet, text from books, text from blogs, forums, different conversations people have that are publicly available, and all sorts of other text that is fed into a large language model. And what it does is it uses self-supervised learning to learn the patterns in this text. That's pretty much all you need to know about for the exam, but we'll dive in a bit more detail so that you can answer questions not just from memorization, but from a good understanding of what's happening. So in the learning process, the LLM will see lots of sentences, such as this one, an apple is around fruit. Self-supervised learning means that a part of the LLM, kind of like quote-unquote independent part of the LLM, will mask this last word, or will mask a certain number of words. And the other part of the LLM, the one that's actually learning, needs to predict this next word. It only needs to learn how to predict the next word that is hidden. So in this case, it will need to use this input, an apple is around, and then predict the blank that it sees. It sees an apple is around blank and needs to predict that blank. So it will provide lots of different predictions. It will say, I think it might be an apple is around potato, and I give that a 55% chance. It might be an apple is around tree, and I give that a 20% chance. It might be an apple is around veggie, 10% chance. An apple is around fruit, 8% chance. An apple is around airplane, 1% chance, and so on. So it'll make lots of predictions, and in total they'll add up to 100%. Now, then it will check what is the actual answer. The answer is fruit. So it will know that, well, that should be 100%, but because we know that's for a fact that that's the correct answer in this case, but I only give it 8%. So my error was 92%. I need to learn from that. And the LLM will adjust slightly, ever so slightly, its internal parameters. We'll talk about parameters in a separate tutorial, but it adjusts its parameters gradually and iteratively to a little bit better make this prediction next time around it sees this or a similar sentence. And so because it sees hundreds of millions and billions of these sentences, it's going to have lots of opportunity to slowly, gradually, iteratively adjust its parameters and learn how to predict the next word. And the key takeaway here is that LLMs don't learn how to think like humans. They don't reason like humans. All they do is learn how to predict the next word in a given sequence of words. And they do that really, really well. So that's the training part. And now moving on to inference. In inference, what happens is we give an LLM input, it gives us output. How does that work in a bit more detail? Well, we'll give it something like a sentence. What is the tallest mountain? And that will go into the input. The LLM will predict the next word, which is the word the. That will be printed out on the screen. And now it will take all of our original sentence plus its generated word, and it will take that as input. Then it'll predict the next word, which is in this case tallest. Then it'll take all of that as input, put it in, and generate the next word mountain. As you can see, the key here is every time it's taking all of our original sentence plus the words that it's already generated so far, and using that as input. And it keeps doing that until the next token that it predicts is this token called end of sequence, or EOS for short. And at that point, it understands that it's time to stop. This sentence is long enough. It's got what was needed. And it stops. And so we have our output. The tallest mountain is Mount Everest. But really, as we can see, the LLM doesn't generate that whole sentence in one go. It generates one word at a time. And that's exactly what happens when you look at ChatGPT. It's generating this one word at a time very quickly for you. It looks really cool as they're popping up on your screen. That's not done as a way to make it look cool. That's actually what happens in reality, because that's how it works. It's generating one word at a time. So there we go. That's how it works. For the exam, you just need to know what the word inference actually means. It means using an LLM. Here's a quick summary of what we discussed, and I look forward to seeing you back here next time. Until then, enjoy the cloud.